Oh, please make yourselves comfortable. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here again on our final session. Just to remind you all that today's session will run until 1 p.m.
Ish.
Yes. We do have to exit the room at 1 p.m. But we will have the teaching, and we will also have a very short sog as well, just ceremonial feast offering, and also Misha and Pia, I believe, will lead us in the chanting of the long life prayer to Lama Lena. And there will also be the opportunity for you all, if you wish, to make a personal dana offering to Lama Lena with the traditional katak as well at the end of today's session. And for those of you who may be staying around the city later on and are looking for some kind of social events, please contact Leila at the reception. She is our designated city guide, and she will point you in the right direction for activities to keep you busy. So, and I think that's it. So enjoy the last session, and thank you, Lama, again.
So we left yesterday with me having a feeling that I hadn't quite gotten what they mean by spontaneous presence communicated effectively. Try this. Relax. Don't make anything special. Don't do anything special. Don't do anything except relax. Don't even worry about your channels and what they're doing. Just relax. Things as they are, which isn't, you know, as they are, as you think they are. In the simplicity, where is and isn't aren't, and you don't have to make anything out of it. That utter simplicity, uncreated, indestructible. Where everything is an occurrence and nothing is an occurrence. Where matter arises as a symbol of energy, and energy as a symbol of the vitality of Bodhisattva. And it doesn't require your fixing it. Just that before you poke at it. Not dependent on anything, not even the four visions of Tokyo, which is a process. This is the peak. And if you don't get it, then you go do Tokyo and you get some stuff to do because you weren't able to stop doing stuff. Tokyo is not the peak. Oh, it's useful. And those who need something to do say it's better than structure because you don't leave behind fingernails and hair. Like, who cares? Whether you leave behind fingernails and hair anyway. Besides, people like it if you leave behind fingernails and hair. They stick it in stupas and they're happy about it. Damn Dharma rumors. Reddit is not my friend. Can you imagine something which is not dependent on something else? This is spontaneous presence. Look at the word spontaneous. It occurs naturally. This is what I was trying to shock you into during the outer body Rushen. The spontaneous presence that occurs naturally, that you don't have to make. It is sometimes possible by exhausting doings to enter a moment where you're just too tired to do a damn thing, and you stop. It is there, in that not trying to stop, not withholding yourself from activity. That simple natural occurrence when you've had enough samsara and you just can't be bothered to make any more. Spontaneous presence. Is this starting to go in a little bit? Questions?
When you say spontaneous, let's say I do boom.
Yeah.
Then first, that is a spontaneous action. Yeah. But
And I have a spontaneous reaction. I feel it in my ear.
yeah, okay. But first it wasn't there, and then spontaneous it's arising. So, and what I understand from
All actions are spontaneous. You just have made up a story how you exist and are doing them.
yeah, okay. Yeah, but what I want to come to is that this natural state, or this, it's always there. You can say it is spontaneous, but let's say the things around this.
Of course it's always there.
Yeah, but if you call it spontaneous, then you have the feeling that it's suddenly there, but it's always there.
But it's also suddenly there.
Because you recognize it.
No. In each moment, there is a newness which suddenly arises as the moment. Nothing makes that. It's the pattern arising.
Okay.
That is the moving aspect of the dancing stillness.
Okay. Yeah.
So spontaneous means, this is too loud. Could somebody turn this down a little bit? I'm hearing the echo because I have a loud voice.
No.
You guys will figure it out. You can make a lot of plans. Have you ever had one of them actually occur the way you planned it?
No.
So, yeah, why bother?
I have no problem with. I try to feel or grasp. If you say again.
Oh, you're focusing on the words. Would you stop that?
Okay.
It's just words.
Yeah, that's.
You're looking in the wrong spot. You're staring at the finger, not where it's pointing.
So what if I poke it? Do I break it? I mean, if there's nothing to break, but still I'm not there.
You don't even exist. How can you not be there? Ah, yes, the withholding, the survival reflex states that you are and you have free will. And you're making choices, such as the choice to poke it. Not exactly true. It feels like that. But in the state of spontaneous presence, or what is called here in this text, using the words to lift it by the handle, is called spontaneous presence. There isn't a doer to poke it. There could be the occurrence of poking, but nobody, and there may have been the experience or sensation occurring of deciding to poke. But that came from the poking, not from the poker. Because they're the same thing, as well as is that which is poked, which is the spontaneous presence. You're separating. Just for a moment, look past your separations. This is supposed to be inspiration. You're not expected to live in this at all times. Due to your vitality, you will have thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. Nor are you supposed to deny those or shove them away. The recommendation in Dzogchen is that you relax into the doing as it occurs without trying to separate the doer from it. And also without trying to suppress the sensations of a doer. Don't squish it. It'll just spring on you. You know what I mean by that? Like when you squish an emotion and then it comes out your ears? It's a matter of teaching yourself to relax into the momentary moment without attempting to maintain the action of relaxing into the momentary moment. Because to maintain that, or even to occur that, you have the relaxing, and the momentary moment into which you're relaxing. So you did a separation again. The moment you think about it, you're going to make that separation, which is what we're all tripping over, except for those of us who are tripping over the words. So this is why we come right back to Gom and what Dzogchen Dorji said. Whatever you're doing, while you do it, take a momentary moment and let go. Relaxation, however you want to phrase it. Does anybody have a copy of that text in English?
Yes.
Give me. I want to check my second part of the quote.
Two different translations.
I like to do good ones. Just because I'm used to it and I was there when he translated it.
The old version of Stephen is the new version.
I don't care. Ricochet was reciting it at the time, so the first version makes sense to me, but let me have some version. It's just one 3-word phrase that I can't remember. That I thought I had memorized, but I need to look. There we go. Yeah, here we go. There's more. I'm missing something. There. I knew there was another page. Sorry, senility, you know, it's annoying. When eating, sitting, walking, standing, sleeping, or talking, whatever you do while you're doing it, look directly at the nature of this. 34, where's 34 in Tibetan? Look at it as it is. You could also say, this could be said as, here you go, sweetie, but leave it here for a moment in case I decide to read it to people. You get it back, though. I have it in my bookcase, but I didn't bring it because I'm only carrying my iPad and I gotta put it in here, and I'll do that when I get home. The point is, this is gone. First, these are the Samaya. This is a teaching, a bit of a complexification because they use a lot of words. My teacher used a lot less on this same teaching of the Dzogchen Samayas. Here they break it into 4. My teacher say, yeah, there's 1. Why would there be more? You only need 1. But this is a teaching in Dzogchen as Dzogchen about what it feels like. Take it as inspiration, not method. This Samaya relationship vow, intent of relationship. Remember, Samaya doesn't just mean vow. It's got a lot more meanings in it. Is unbreakable by its nature. Your own innate, the first teaching you ever got, for most of us, for a lot of us, Buddha nature is inherently in you. I get a newbie who knows nothing, tell them one thing, Buddha nature is inherent in you. You don't have to be better than you are to get it. You're fine. You're good enough. That is what is pointed out here. The beginning turns out to be the same as the end. All this does, in 4 terms, is tell you that Buddha nature is inherently in you, cannot be lost, doesn't need to be found, but that you will be happier if you notice it. Then you go to one of the how-to texts, which I call Dzogchen Light. Kind of like light beer, good on a hot day because you know you're going to drink a few. The point of that is it's got doing in it. Real Dzogchen, the pure Dzogchen, doesn't have anything to do. It is completion stage, it's when you're done. But in the karma of the Kali Yuga, we have a lot of yogis here. A lot of ex-Tibetans. It's hard to stay alive in Tibet. So you die. But you got some good karma because you've been practicing. Yeah, you died when the Chinese took Tibet. The old ones did. That's why back our generation, Anila, there was a whole bunch of ex-Tibetans wandering around India, trying to get home. Except home you couldn't get to, so where's my peep? First time you smell Tibetan incense, Mama's kitchen. Most of you are long-term Dharma practitioners. You've been doing it a few lives. The thing is, you don't usually keep your memories through death. You have to do the practice that brings them to you. You're welcome to schedule that in Europe next year. It's, it's a retreat thing. A whole series of things that you do it. Give me a week someplace nice. See, now I've told you a few things you can do for next year. It might be the year after because I don't have the stamina to do both South America and Europe in the same year. So unless I do South America in the winter, which is the summer down there, which aside from Brazil is pretty fine. And Brazil's a little equatorial and jungly and gets hot. But most of the other places are actually climatically better to go to in the summer than the winter. So let's see, you all talk to Jan about this, not me. Just letting you know of another retreat you might have fun with. It's not Dzogchen, it's tantric. Uses symbols. Galupa, incidentally. At least that's where I got it. But I'm Rime, I'll teach you Galupa stuff. Or Jackia stuff. Have you noticed that I get deep into showing you something and then digress and make you laugh? What does laughter do?
Relax.
And then we go back into trying to look at it. And then we come out and I tell you jokes. Learned this trick from several teachers. Only thing is I tell you how it works. You know who used to do that? Lama Yeshi. He said, okay, it's Kopan course. It's brainwashing. When did you last run it through the washer? Don't you think maybe by now it kinda sorta needs a good cleaning and airing? So yes, we change your diet and we make you sleep deprived.
That was such fun.
Yeah. I'll tell you right out that's what we're doing, just like Lama Yeshi. It still works. I love your earrings.
Yeah. Yes, I got it.
Did I give
Because
them
I
to
love
you?
yours.
Ah.
Like,
You want to trade? Just for a change. Change is good. They're cheaters. They look like they're to
Yeah.
gauge, but they aren't. This hole is a bit to gauge and stretched out, but not the other one.
oh, you look great on you. Yes.
They looked great on her too. But they look good on her too. If you all want these next time you're in India, in Delhi, you can get them almost everywhere in different shapes. Carved bone. They're really into carving bone down in India. Anybody going to Nepal? Darn. The shopping list. You'll email me if you decide to go to Nepal. You're going to Nepal. I gotta show you, I need a matching earring, I lost one. And they only come from Nepal. My good conch Lama earrings. We're supposed to wear conch earrings, but they're hard to get. I've only seen them in Nepal. Okay, enough digression. Spontaneous digression in presence. None of that was planned. That outside the window wasn't planned either. Just happening. Try that this afternoon. Yeah, you can find out about a lot of activities. There's a game I used to play when I was a little kid called Yes. You'd walk around in a city, and every time you saw a sign that said to do something, you'd go do it. So you'd go drink a Coca-Cola. If it said drink a Coca-Cola. If the sign said walk, you'd walk, and you wouldn't stop going straight ahead walking until you found a sign that said stop. Just to see where, that's a teenage game. Just to see where it would get you. I made it up because they told me I had to be more biddable, so okay, I'll go play yes. I'm doing what I'm told. Biddably. Try to remember, back when you were a little kid, you either saw Tiglies and knew they were important or something, but nobody around you talked about such things. You had nobody to ask. Or you had some experiences or some memories of the color of the sky at high altitude or something. But nobody around you talked about that. Anybody here got little kids or planning to have little kids? Okay, when they're really little and first talking, ask them, where were you before you came here? They don't forget until they're 5 or 6, maybe even 8. If you talk to them about it, take the time to lie on your back and look at the sky with the little ones sometime. What do you see in the clouds? What shapes? What do you see in the clear sky? Shift with them. Let them keep their memories. I got lucky that my parents let me keep mine because we talked about it. And my daughter remembers past life. Unfortunately, she was a leopard. And it was really hard to get her to stop batting at things as a little kid. We got her into art just so she'd learn to use hands. But y'all have been practicing this for a while, which is why you want Dzogchen. Good karma lands you in a precious human rebirth, where you have the health, wealth, and leisure, and the open-minded enough culture in your subculture, among your friends, in your college, if not your parents, to look outside the box. All of you have that. Some of you got it from your parents, and some of you got it by escaping from your parents at the university. But you all got that. Do you know how rare that is? Suppose you were born highly religious Muslim in Afghanistan. Suppose you were born highly religious Christian in the American South.
No escape.
Orthodox Jewish in Israel or even New York. It's a very tight-knit community. These communities are very Suri, sectarian, my way is right. They're welcome to do that. Some kids will escape and some won't. It is wrong for us to impose our open-mindedness on those who don't want it. It is wrong for someone else to impose their closed-mindedness on those that don't want it. The terror of Dzogchen, felt by many Tibetans and some Westerners, you'll find them on Reddit. You guys aren't having that. Remember when they talk about the lion cubs? When the lion roars in the mountains, all the wild animals cower in fear, except for the lion cubs that come running because they recognize the voice of Mama. Dzogchen. That's a Dzogchen analogy, traditional. So because you've done this before, it feels like home, even if occasionally it scares you a little bit when you go too fast. It's okay. That doesn't make you a bad person, unripe, or unready. All that says is add a little tantra in to make it easier. Go on, put hot sauce on it. It's too bland for you. Nothing wrong with hot sauce. So the spontaneous presence is what's going on right now. Right, this interaction. As I look at your faces, you look at my face, I wave my hands around in the air. Some of you wave your hands around in the air. And we do the Samaya dance, the relationship dance of communication in a teaching. That is a demonstration of spontaneous presence. We are all spontaneously present. What you think you're doing, frou-frou and curlicues. No, never mind, it's just a thought. If you can get free, key, pure key, get free of believing everything you think. You have met the conspiracy folks who believe everything they read on the internet. Somewhere in your extended family, you gotta have one of those. Everybody does. Even here in Holland. You're the most immune country to it, but you got a few. So, people are giggling because they all know who I'm talking about. So within this, that's the first step, is not to believe everything you read on the internet. Somebody pass that on to Nigel? Again. The second step is not to believe everything you hear between your ears. Actually, it's not between your ears, that's a euphemism. That's the only thing that makes you think you're not in spontaneous presence at all times. You think you're not, and you believe the damn thing. So work on not believing your thoughts. Do not do that by telling yourself don't believe the thoughts, because guess what that is? So you believe that one, and then you just make this layer. There's nothing to support it. Instead, gong. First, tawa the easy way, by aligning the channels, setting up the environment, having an altar, making a gom tree, doing all the little, getting the right sash and thing to help you, doing all the little things that make tawa seeing easy. And yeah, when you first see it, you're going to think it's over there. That's okay, that's a, what do you call it? Visual distortion, only it's mental. It's not over there. It's not in the place. Every day, without fail, even when you're running for a 4 a.m. flight, take a couple of minutes when you first get up before you engage with the written or spoken word, either by speaking, writing, typing, or reading, or hearing. So teach your partner not to talk to you and dweeble at you at that moment. Take 3 minutes if you're running for an airplane. There's days I get 30 seconds because I couldn't wake up, and then this stuff has to happen because I'm on an airplane or I'm teaching or something. But take what time you can. At least 10 minutes on a good day. If you can do half an hour, that's even better, but you can't sometimes. Sometimes you can't for internal reasons. You're cheese flipping too much. Blip, blip, blip. Yeah, shut up, motherfucker. Just take those few minutes at the start of the day. Locate tawa with your attention. Open the orifice of your attention into tawa. Learn what makes that easy for you. A special seat, having a candle glowing in front of you, or a thangka, or an image of your teacher, or a view of the sky out the window. Take the time to figure out for you what makes that easiest. And start your day the easy way with that. If you do that, during the day, Gom will be easy to remember to do. Gom is what we talked about while you're doing things. Notice Tawa, Dharmakaya, nature of mind, open awareness, George, whatever you want to call it. Don't get caught in the word. I want to pause for a moment and ask if there are any questions about how to do what I've just said to do. Yes, I thought I saw you thinking of the question.
Does this also works for moments of intense pain, depression, anxiety, or should
Yes.
we do something else?
If you are good at this, you will be able to do it in moments of intense pain, depression, and anxiety. There are some auxiliary methods that help you. For example, depression and anxiety as a type of pain, mental pain. If you do the retreat called Working with Emotions, which comes after you have at least got a handle on knowing your thoughts aren't real, even if you keep falling for the same trick every time. That will teach you a number of methods of developing skill at those. But it is this method expanded. Noticing Tawa. We just slow down the process of how to do it with feelings to give you a slow way to learn how. Once you're good at it, you don't have to go the slow way. For intense physical pain, working with perceptions will be the instructions on, because it's working with the perception, which includes the sensation, which includes a certain kind of dream yoga. I prefer to teach that as an in-person retreat because it's buggy, although I have taught it online, usually to some relatively advanced students. You're welcome to join Working with Emotions and Working with Thoughts online for the instruction in the slow way to do that. However, just Gom is the fast way. If you can do it just flashing, then do that. Sometimes an intensity is such that you can't. I found in my training the hardest thing to work with was not physical pain, but grief. Grief's a bugger. I find physical pain easy to work with if I can sit still undistractedly. But trying to find a place while holding a conversation, can't quite manage that yet. That's my failing. It shouldn't make a difference, but it does. So I'm still working on physical pain while walking down the street trying to find a place and holding a conversation. Did that answer your question in some depth? Both methods to slow it down, but if you don't have to, you don't need them. If you can just glimpse Tawa, that shift of attention from point focus into open focus, which is not on a thing, while experiencing an intensity of fear, anxiety, anger, or pain, or depression, Everything releases in that moment. But then don't grab it and try to avoid going back to the feeling. Do it again and again, but don't try to stabilize. The attempt to stabilize in this set of methods is not used. It's counterproductive. In the Mahamudra set of methods, there are times where you attempt to stabilize Shine through sufficient relaxation, but it's just a different set of methods. Shine is shamatha, yes. Sorry, I think Tibetan words, not Sanskrit words, because I learned all this in Tibetan, not out of books. I was very shocked when I finally found the books that told all this stuff that Rinpoche was telling me. They made it all highfalutin and he made it so ordinary. I thought Chuku, Lonku, and Truku were just things you see, like, you know, eating bowls and the door, and I was learning a lot of words at the time. Yeah, Chuku, okay. Infinite open expanse, nature of mind. It's got a name. Like your fork has a name. Much later I found it was fancy. I was quite shocked. I thought that was just Chuku. Keep it ordinary. It's easier to swallow. You beginning to get a feel of spontaneous presence? I think maybe it's time to move on to the number 4. Any questions on spontaneous presence? Yes?
Is it in any way connected with the energy of Dakinis? Is it Dakini?
Dakinis live in this. So Dakini, Skywalker, and Daka, form dancer. That's the male side. Dakinis are the manifestation of the openness in open awareness. Dakas are a manifestation of the sparkle or the creativity of awareness in open awareness. When you bring them together, yin and yang, yab and yum, father, mother, you create the universe. Because there is space in which the dance may occur, but the dance is made of space, and it is the space itself which dances, and nothing comes in from outside and nothing to leave, because there is no inside or outside, it's too big. Did that answer?
Yeah. That's my experience anyway from the Dakini energy. It was
Yeah.
very interesting what you said about the past lives, and when you come into this life, that the old knowledge, it catches up with you, and
Yeah.
you get this kind of
Things seem familiar.
inspiration, you know, without anybody telling you
Mm-hmm.
anything, but you would get it from inside yourself.
You get it from inside yourself, but you will not quite trust it or follow it unless you can get some kind of confirmation usually.
And that's has been the Buddhist teaching for me.
Yes.
And then it became clear, you know, where it comes from and where it goes to.
Exactly.
My whole life has been in the nature of the sky dancer. You know, not make a planning, but just jump into things and then.
You'll probably run very high Dakini energy. And I'm going to guess if you have a partner that they run high Daka energy.
Yeah.
That they're into form, that they like matter, that they probably know how to use a screwdriver.
That's right.
You see, it's not about what's between your legs. It's energy. And you don't have to be in a female, you don't have to have tits to be a Dakini. You can be a Daka in female form or a Dakini in male form while being perfectly male. You don't have to be trans. You could if you wanted, but you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
You just have the sky energy. And I know a lot of couples, intersexual couples, that is male and female, where the male runs the Dakini energy and the female runs the Daka energy.
Yeah,
It's extremely common. Besides, a lot of us switch off every life, gender-wise.
It was very confusing for me to find out that I have a very feminine kind of energy. And even, when I was a young boy, the people, they were always kind of asking, you know, what my gender was. If I
Nowadays, the kids think that if their energy doesn't match what society says is male or female, they should switch.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay if you want to, I mean, no harm done. But it seems a lot of ado and a big expense. I probably would have, as a kid nowadays, gone trans. Why not? It certainly would have gotten me into MIT, which wasn't taking girls at the time. It just But it really doesn't matter what you want to do. In the end of all time, you want to merge the two. Whether you do that as two people together or as a single person, two-spirit, doesn't matter. It is the two energies that merge. It's got very little to do with procreation. And somebody else had a, there you are.
It was from earlier and it's still nagging me. So when you said you quoted the Tenchu Dorje text, whatever you're doing while you're doing it, look directly at the nature of this. And my mind immediately interpreted it in two different ways, so I just want to clarify. So it could mean look directly at this, look at the tower, but it could also mean look at the doing as it arises.
Those are not two different ways.
Okay.
And, not or.
So both of those? Is
Yes.
the same. That's what I
And in
thought.
fact, we have two translations, and one says look directly at what you're doing, and the other says look directly at the nature of doing, or something like that. But when I just looked at the Tibetan, it seemed to say this.
So it's one thing, the
Yo.
observer and the action together, one thing, and looking at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's great, that's what,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's a lovely text. Oral transmission. And I do believe there is at least one translation and the original Tibetan, which you can look for the root of the syllables for clarification on any part you don't understand up on the website. So you can go play with it. Yes?
What's the translation of Tama and Gom?
Well,
It's a point.
Gom is traditionally translated as the word meditation. But there are many, many kinds of meditation, and Gom refers to a specific kind. The quick glances. Tawa is traditionally translated as the word view, V-I-E-W. But view gives the connotation of I'm looking out a window at the view. And Tawa actually does not want to give that connotation, because what you're looking at is the looker. Which is why I tend to encourage people to think the Tibetan words rather than the kind of sort of English equivalent, because it will sneak a connotation into your belief systems that will be inaccurate, whereas if you just take a series of sounds you don't know what they mean, there's nothing stuck to them yet. So you can start cleaner. Does that answer your question?
I have sometimes heard Gom translated with the words becoming familiar with. meditation in the sense of becoming familiar with?
That is the effect of Gam. You become familiar with the nature of thinking. Because Tawa is where the thoughts arise, where they occur, where they disappear. So Gam is quick looking at that which causes any thought that's currently bothering you to dissolve in that moment. Of course, you'll still get another one, because they do that. So it's an ongoing. So you have to look again and again until an absolute certainty develops. The word sopa, the third word, which you cannot do, because it's not something that one does. It's a spontaneously arising the way it is. And a certainty recognition of the way it is arises from Gam. Does that help? Sopa is sometimes translated as conduct, which is accurate in very rare contexts. Yes, sometimes it means that, but it's only very specific contexts of text where it meant that. Usually it means spontaneous action of non-action. Shortened to action, which has the wrong connotation.
Regarding your analogy or your explanation of the view, is it in a way the same thing than realizing the nature of reality, discovering the absolute and the...
Yes, I've heard it called that too. Watch out for words. But yes, if you have a text that calls it that, it's talking about the same thing. Let me move on to oneness. I think we've beaten spontaneous presence to death as much as we can. Yes?
The Tawa as direct introduction.
As a translation. It refers to the experience of direct introduction. Yeah, that'll do. I mean, if you got to talk about it, I kind of like George. The Samaya of oneness is to remain within the singular wisdom which abides as the natural luminosity and cannot be expressed in words. This is the seer. Remember, clear light nature is the term used, ocell, transparent light, is the term used to refer to the lucidity or the vitality of open awareness, of Dharmakaya nature of mind. So luminosity is another translation of ocell, clear light. You can't really say what it is, but it is that thing that is not thing. It is that which is looking out from behind your own eyes. The seer, without any layers of ego or non-ego piled upon it. Naked. The naked seer, also known as naked awareness, which is what Guru Rinpoche calls it in one of his texts. That's as close as we get in words. All concepts of establishment and negation, that's all is and isn't, which include ideas and judgments as to what constitutes vows and commitments, which includes every word in this text, by the way. Whether things are real or not real, whether they arise or cease, and clinging to the realization achieved or the lack thereof are all one singular suchness. Everything is one with the nature that is not seen through looking. This entire paragraph just said all is and isn'ts aren't. I kind of like the way Saraha phrased it. Do you understand this?
Especially with your phrasing.
It's very simple. To reify or to suppress are both actions creating karma and perpetuating your experience of samsara, which unfortunately you take all too seriously. Another way of saying it. Questions?
So, despite getting it, I manage to often get stuck in my fuzzy mental blank state or whatever.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, when I sit on the cushion, Russian really helps to...
Which Russian?
The voice,
The speech Russian.
Yeah.
Good, you found something that works for you.
Absolutely, but it doesn't work when I walk through Amsterdam in daily life. So, any suggestions?
More time on the cushion. Got a practice that you might like. Which Hong works best for you?
We talked about this one before.
Remind me.
I prefer the more ferocious one.
The fierce Hong.
The fierce one. And you told me that it's probably because there is some frustration building up in the softer one, which is true, so I've been switching to that one.
Okay, well you can do the softer one while walking through Amsterdam. Put a cell phone thingy in your ear, so it looks like you're on a phone. And then very softly you can move your lips and go boom, 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 and do it while walking through Amsterdam. Watch out for the bike lanes. Do not enter a bike lane while doing this, okay? Just safety issue. I mean, they'll get you anyway, but... This will cause you enough distraction that you should do it on walking streets and to the side. And hope that the bikes will take responsibility for not running you over, because to be doing this as you're popping the universe, you know, with Swiss cheesing it, you can do it while out and about. And you might want to give that a try, but only with the gentle ones, because you don't want to be knocking people off their bicycles when they come too close, and you'd be tempted to do that with the fierce ones, and it's also easy to do. And even I have thought of doing that occasionally. I haven't done it, but you know, the thought has occurred. So use the soft one, but try it out and about.
So the homework that we did yesterday, so I wandered around the park and followed my nose, you know, having sat a little bit to start with, and I found it quite exhilarating. And what I was struck by is that when I practice, you know, I have a day every week when I practice, I try my best to avoid people.
Oh, don't necessarily do that.
Well, no, this is what I'm wondering, you know, and I love that. Isn't it? I related to what you were saying yesterday about kind of the urge towards silence. It doesn't space me out, you know, it feels like it really feeds me, you know, that I have so many
Your
interactions.
work is really people-y.
Yeah, although I'm giving that up, I'm retiring at the end of June from that
Okay,
work.
well, when you retire from the people-y work, that would be a time to change what you do on your day off.
Yeah,
Not before, because if you people a lot, then you need a couple of days unpeopling,
yes,
just to balance.
yes, yes, yes. So when I was wandering around yesterday, I was feeling kind of sparks, a lot of sparks with it. Yeah, I guess there isn't really a question there. But so I mean, I'm actually going to be carrying on doing people-y stuff even when I finish the clinical work, because I'm going to carry on teaching and mentoring people. So maybe I just feel it out.
I suggest then see if you can have 2 days off.
Yeah, I could.
And one is people-y and one isn't.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That could be fit very nicely.
So the first one after all the people is the no people one.
Yes.
And then the next one is out and about
Yes.
among people and dogs and life.
Yes.
See what that does.
That
I mean,
sounds-
I'm giving you some things
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try,
No,
not
no,
some
no, I
things
like
I'm
that
sure
idea.
are gonna be
I
perfect.
like that idea because it also fits with the fact that, you know, so I'm retiring from my clinical work. In a year's time, I'm intending to retire from the rest of it as well. So,
Mhm.
you know, my intention with that is to really dedicate myself much more to practice. And the first thing I'm going to do is go to India and Nepal for 6 months in autumn 24, which fits with going to Suprema with some of my mum's ashes
Yes.
as well. So
I'm there in spring of 24, not autumn.
Okay, well, I'm hoping to still be there in the spring. Yeah, so.
Of
well,
25.
actually, in 25.
Yeah, I've switched my India time to Losar
Yeah, yeah,
to see if that works better.
yeah. Yeah, I won't be able to go.
I got
there.
too sick last time.
I'll catch you next time around because I'm intending to go there a lot
Okay.
after that. Yeah, thank you.
Lama, when you said that it's seen not through looking, does that include all the senses?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, to a Tibetan, looking means seeking, trying to see. Here, it's more a matter of what they're saying is not so much about non-sense organ, but that it is not found through seeking, not seen through looking. In this text, the meaning. Ah,
I need a little bit of help, I think, because I'm tricking myself into a kind of trap, I believe.
okay.
I'll try to explain it. Let's see. I used to have a part of my life where I used to practice quite a lot. And I have a part of my life where I practice not so much, and now it is part of my life. And I have a child, work, a lot of excuses, dinner, behind the screen. But when I practice, it's there. And it's very, the confidence is very deep.
Gone.
I'm freaking myself.
During. How old is your kid now?
Almost 8.
Okay, so you take the kid out on a Saturday. You ever do that?
Not on Saturday.
On a day. Take the kid out, go somewhere with an 8-year. 8-year-olds like to be taken out. That's gonna stop by the time they're 12, so enjoy it now. So take your kid out somewhere. You practice GOM and do whatever the kid wants to do. Go to a park, go on some rides, have an ice cream. You know.
I also find that this is where perhaps I'm deeply tweaking myself. When sometimes I will practice, let's say, even for a week or weeks, but when I come back,
It hasn't, you're coming back soon enough. Don't trust this.
No, that's where I'm tweaking myself.
Every morning. 5 minutes. is better than every few weeks checking to see if it's still there. Actually, you're not going anywhere. There's nothing you're going to get out of this. Do it anyway for the sake of others. Your practice is creating gewa, motes of openness, as in open awareness. You have seen the pattern going on in the world of this shutdown and intense closed-mindedness that is occurring in many countries out of fear. The antidote to that is in you. Your 5 minutes in the morning. The gewa of that thrown into the big pot. Let it antidote the digpa of the closeness. You may not need it every morning. However, the world does throw it in the pot. Can you do that? 3 minutes on a busy morning. If the kid can't find their shoes and you got to get them ready for school, you got to get up and find their shoes, right? That's like that. 8 still loses its shoes.
Oh, he just comes flying like a Superman at 5 o'clock.
When that happens, you tell him, and you sit up. Or you give a hug first and then you do that, but don't speak. Tell him later in the day that you're doing this special practice of silence just for a few minutes after you wake up. And then it's really fun because it gives you magic during the day.
It's not just him, it's me. I just reduced the phone time.
Oh, are you playing on your iPhone?
Not playing, it's not just.
Give the world, give the universe 3 minutes of a morning. And do GOM, it won't interrupt your daily life. It's not supposed to. Right in the middle of all the shit and flowers, quick check. Don't even bother aligning your channels. It's too fast. Try. Not for you. You want him to grow up in a world that's gone Nazi again? Throw it in the pot, huh? Okay? We need the gewa out there. Your practice is not for you. You got in the habit of practicing for you when you first started because, well, you do everything for you. By now, that should be releasing. And you should realize that if you don't fill the pot with gewa, the big pot, not your personal pot, the digpa's gonna override and we're gonna get Nazi Germany or its equivalent one more time, and we really don't wanna have to have our kids live through that one. It was a mess last time. You don't wanna do it again. It's not gonna happen in Germany this time. It's gonna pick someplace else. Who knows, maybe it'll start in Israel. And the Jews have a whole bunch of, right now, trauma. And they've got a wonky government. You don't know what it's gonna do with the Palestinians. And they always go after the gypsies, the Romney, and the dikes. Not dikes that hold the ocean. Do your practice and put it in the pot. The only antidote to that survival instinct that keeps you from releasing into oneness, spontaneous presence, evenness, and non-existence is bodhicitta. Do the practice without hope of getting something out of it, or fear of it not working, or that you're not doing it right, or all the other yada yadas you stick on your practice. And throw the gewa in the pot, because the pot at the moment really needs it. The mamos are active because we haven't managed to use contraceptives sufficiently. The earth is overpopulated. The planet's running a fever. The immune system is activated. And the mamos are the white cells. And they're going to have to kill off half of humanity if we don't put our pecker back in our pockets, or use contraceptives and avoid having 5 kids each. There's no room for the animals, let alone for the people. Put the gewa in the pots before the mamos have to do it in an unpleasant manner, like war or pestilence. Yeah? Practice bodhicitta. Practice for the sake of others, it's the key. Moreover, to abide within the primordial wisdom of emptiness, which is essentially beyond all conceptual elaborations. You can't think it, he just said. Of true existence and subject or object is the Samaya of non-existence. Leave it as it is without drawing curlicues around it. Cease attempting to reify, make real, or suppress, deny, make unreal. Embrace the power of and stop trying to figure out whether it is or isn't real. All phenomena of samsara and nirvana are expressions and play of primordial wisdom. Chukurolpa, Yeshirolpa. They arise individually from the same source, the source of vitality, the source of aliveness, the clear light nature of the Dharmakaya, the light by which the seer sees. Nothing deviates from the expanse of awareness, for there is nothing beyond that. It's all alive. Do the rocks have Buddha nature? Mu. Mu. It's a Japanese word. You may Google it when you get home. To recognize that everything is perfect within this single bias, single basis. I wondered that sounded like the wrong word. Is the Samaya of oneness. Watch out for the word perfect. When you think the word perfect, what word are you thinking? What picture are you having?
Complete, no flaw.
Be careful, because what you think would be perfect is not what is meant by this perfect. Kadak is a good one for perfect. Primordially pure, as it is. Does not require your attention or poking. Be careful that that to you seems to mean all good. yet it is perfect. In the fourth time. Primordial awareness abides as a natural evenness. It does not come and go. It does not get bigger or smaller. It's nature without fluctuation, change or fragmentation into concepts, such as good, bad, happy, sad, hope, doubt, and so on. An all-pervasive evenness. To remain with such vast and spacious openness is the Samaya of evenness. Think mirror-like wisdom of the Eastern direction. Dhyani Buddha pattern. All of these Samayas go into the Dhyani Buddha pattern. It's a lovely pattern. All phenomena of samsara and nirvana arise individually from awareness. Rigpa Sambhogakaya, nature of mind. Clear light. The light by which the seer sees, the lucidity, the vitality. All these words point at the same thing. Regardless of whether you realize it or not, regardless of whether you see it or not, regardless of whether you notice it or not, awareness itself is the natural ground from which everything positive and negative arises. In this moment, join me. Look out from behind your eyes, the seer. Just that. Don't add anything to it. Neither one nor many. Both one and many. Neither not one nor not many. One and many. Life, vitality, interpenetrating, interchangeable. We are all this. This is Bodhisattva, the life force of the universe, also known as love, and the urge to merge, where one and many are and not either. Exactly this. Rigpa, the seer. To remain within this recognition of Samaya is spontaneous presence. The one named Tsotrung Zangpo wrote this by hand from the perspective of a slight movement, deviation from the primordial ground. You have to step out to get the words to point back in. There is no in and out. Equanimity of sameness. Mirror-like wisdom. What is the mirror reflecting?